Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Anthony here. So I'm going to show you guys how to use await messages, and I'm also going to show you guys how to use message collector, and I'm also going to talk about the differences between the two and when you should select which one to use. So right now I have a simple command. So if I do $hello, it's going to send this message. So right after this message is sent from the bot, I want to be able to send a message that the bot can take in and process it, and it can do whatever it wants to do. It can save it to a database, it can compute some kind of output, etc. So for example, if I do $hello, it says, hello there, what is your name? So I want to enter my name, but how do we get the bot to read in our name? Whenever you have a situation like this, the answer to that question is using await messages or message collector. Let's go ahead and use await messages first, and let's see how it works. So I'm going to use async await syntax. If you guys don't know how async await works, it's fairly simple. I'll use the promise syntax first, and then I'll use async await. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and reference message dot channel dot await messages. Okay, so this await messages method is going to take in a filter function. This is required. The filter function is mandatory. Basically, any message that passes that filter will be a message that is processed, okay, and it'll be considered matched. Basically, this allows you to prevent certain messages from being processed. So if you want the message to come directly from the original author, that's what the filter function is for. If you want the message to have a certain text, that's what the filter function is for. So I'll actually just create the filter function up here. So it's just an ordinary function that returns a Boolean value. So we're going to go ahead and take in one parameter. The parameter itself is the message that the user is sending, right? The user that the bot is waiting for to send. So we're going to go ahead and check to see if the author is the same as the original author that used the command itself. So message.author.id. I know it's a little bit weird, but don't worry, I'll show you how it works. So we're going to pass that filter right in here. And then the second parameter is an object. And this object, you can pass in different properties. So for example, you can set a max messages. So we can set that to 1. You can also set a time. So after, let's say, 5 seconds, it won't wait for messages anymore. And you can also set errors as well. So in case of any one of these things are not met, it's going to just throw an error. So I'll just set time as an error, because usually that means that they ran out of time. Alright, so let's just use .then. So the promise itself is going to resolve a collection of all the messages. So collected. And I'm going to go ahead and just simply console log collected .size. Obviously, this is just going to be 1. And let me go ahead and catch the error as well. Let's go ahead and say hello. Hi. Now, if you look at the console order here, it says 1. Okay, if you want to get the message itself, you can do that simply by using the .first method, because this is a collection. Okay, so collected .first, that will give you the first message in the collection. Since we set it max to 1, it's always going to be 1 message only. Okay, so then I can just console log message content. I can log that. And let's go ahead and try this out now. And you can see it says hello, just like that. Of course, if you want it to take in more messages, you can do max of 5. Okay. And let's go ahead and try that out right now. So let's do hello. Just spam it a little bit. And let's see what happens. So you can see it says 5. And it only logs H, which is the first one, because obviously we are only getting the first message first. But of course, if you were to loop through the collection, you can log every single message. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now I'll show you how it works with time. So I'm going to go ahead and just rerun the command again, and I'm not going to say anything. And look what happens after a couple more seconds. There you go. So it threw an error, and it logged the error. The error itself, you can see over here, it gave us the empty collection. So that happens because we set the time to 5 seconds, and we said, hey, look, if after 5 seconds, if nothing happens, we're going to throw an error. Okay? Now let's play around with the filter, and I know the filter isn't really, super great, but let's go ahead and modify a little bit. Let's say, for example, I want only messages that start with the letter A. Okay, so we need to make sure that the person who's sending the message is the same original author as the person who initiated the command, and the message that they're sending starts with the letter A. So let's go ahead and try this out. So let's go ahead and do hello. So we're taking in a max of 5 messages. We have 5 seconds, and the message based on the filter must be the original author, must be from the original author, and it must start with A. Let's do, I'm going to say hello, and we'll type Arizona, and let's look at what happens. So if you look at the, let's see, what happened over here. So you can see that the collection itself only has 1 message, and you can see that the content is Arizona. It doesn't have the previous message that we sent. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Now it threw an error because I think it's because it ran out of time, which is not good. We probably don't want that to happen. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll get rid of this. Let's leave it alone, and let's just take a look at the collection and see what it looks like. So we're going to take in as many messages as possible. We have 5 seconds. Alright, let's see. I think, okay, so you can see that it says Anson and it says Arizona, but it does not have the other 2 messages, which is exactly what the filter is doing. So you can modify the filter to take in whatever messages that you want. It can be a message that starts with a specific substring. It can be a message that starts with a number, whatever it is that you want. So now let's go ahead and just do the same thing with async await, because obviously, let's say for example, if you wanted to do something with this collection, but you don't want to put everything inside the .then, the callback function, because it would look really ugly. So instead what we can do is we can use async await. So for example, I can just get rid of all this, and I'll do const messages equals await message.channel.await messages, pass in the filter, give a time of, let's do 10 seconds. And so after 10 seconds, this promise would be finished, and then it would go on to the next line of code. I'll do 5 seconds just for testing purposes. Alright, let's look at the logs, and you can see it says 0. Let's see, why is this saying 0? That's weird. Oh, because because it didn't take in any of these messages, because none of them started with A, which is normal. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Let's try again. Alright, and it should say 4. Yep, perfect. Okay, so that's how it works with async await. So now you can use this collection and you can do whatever it is that you want to do with it. So I think it's better to use async await instead of regular .then.catch. But let's go ahead and continue. So now let's go ahead and use a message collector. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's just comment this part out first. Okay, so let's do const collector equals new message collector. Let's go ahead and pass in the channel. Let's pass in the filter. Let's pass in the options. So we'll do a time of 5,000 milliseconds. So you can see that it kind of looks very similar. Okay, but the difference is that if you want to actually process each message, you want to listen to the event called collect. So collector itself, the object has a method called .on. So the callback function should be the message itself, though I'm actually going to name it message because we already have a parameter up there named message. So every single time the message goes through the filter, it's going to emit this event. So I'll show you. So let's go ahead and rerun this now. And you can see that it's being logged every single time. So hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, and every single one of these messages pass the filter. If it doesn't pass the filter, it won't work. So I'm going to go ahead and do content that starts with A. And now if we were to trigger this, you can see that only Arizona gets logged, but hello does not get logged. Okay, If you want to do something once all of the messages have been done processed, if you want to do something after the collector has finished, you can listen to the end. This will give you a collection of all the messages that were sent. So for example, let's do collected size messages were sent. Okay, so let's do this again. And it should say 3 messages were sent. Okay, so that's pretty much it with message collectors as well as await messages. So hopefully all of this makes sense and you guys can use this to build whatever it is that you want. Now, what's the difference between message collector and await messages, and when should you use whichever one? Well, when it comes to await messages, personally, I would use await messages if I know exactly how long I want to collect messages for and how many messages I want to collect. So let's say, for example, if I want to collect only 1 message, I would use await messages. However, if I also know that I want the user to send a message within 60 seconds, then I would also use await messages as well. But let's also say, if I don't know how many messages I want to collect, and I also don't know how long I want to collect messages for, right? Let's say, for example, if the user, I just want them to send whatever it is that they want, and I don't know how long they should send messages for, okay? I also don't know how many messages I want to collect. I would use a message collector because you can also stop the collector given some kind of condition, right? There's a method called collector.stop, and that can stop the collector. So let's say if you keep on collecting messages all the way up until the user sends a message that starts with the letter Z, like zebra, you can stop the collector and they will stop collecting messages and everything will be finished. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to send messages all the way up until we send the message Arizona, and it's going to stop the collector. It's going to stop collecting messages. I'm going to get rid of this condition part over here, and I'm going to get rid of this time part. So we're going to let the collector run as long as it needs to run, and we're going to manually stop it. So if message.content is equal to Arizona, collector.stop, and we will log every single message. And then once that's done, I'll just send a message to the channel, collector stopped. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this out. So let's just say hello world, Anson, Arizona, collector stopped, and you can see it logged everything and it says 4 messages were sent. Okay, so that's how you can manually stop the collection. So hopefully all of this stuff makes sense, and if it does, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.